At the end of the game Battle for Dream Island Again 5B, or just BFDIA 5B, there is a level that is not meant to be beatable, and it marks the end of the game. Except it is beatable! How, you may ask? Let's take a look at why this infamous level took 10 years to be beaten for the first time, along with how it was done. BFDIA 5B is a really hard game. The game's unique mechanics create a nightmare for anyone playing the game for the first time. Some notable tough levels include the utter insanity of level 29, the strange puzzles in level 47, and the chase sequence at the very end of the game in level 52. However, once you've completed level 52, there's a problem. How are you supposed to get over this massive wall? As it turns out, you're not. The game was supposed to be updated in the future, but it never was. And so level 53, called I'm Sorry, marks the end of the game. People have always been tempted to beat it, but compared to, say, the complexity of level 29, this level is so simple. This wall is barely too high to get over with any normal strategy. There was no conceivable way to possibly do it. And so, as intended, the level remained unbeaten. Now, let's fast forward 3 years to 2016, when 5b's most game-breaking trick was discovered. Enter the grab boost. The trick was restricted to tool-assisted super plays due to the insane figure speeds required for the trick. Literally a day after the trick was discovered, Dunkel Blau showed, by slowing down the game, that level 53 was possible to beat using grab boosts. For the first time ever, level 53 had been shown to be beatable. So now it was time for a human to do it. Over the next 3 years, little progress would be made, but then, in February of 2019, legendary 5B speedrunner and 12 finalist Mr. Twister did this.
Holy crap.
Nowadays, this video is legendary. The reason why? Up to this point, this is the biggest accomplishment by far that used grab boosting. And these are long grab boosts too, these aren't small. Like, this is a big deal. However, Meester wouldn't put out another run like this. It seems like the idea of people being able to grab boost in real time kinda went away after Meester's level 29 run, but then in 2021, Antladders resurrected the idea with this run in level 38.
Oh my god.
And last year, in 2022, Traverity pulled off pretty much the consensus magnum opus of grab boosting after doing this in level 41. However, none of this actually matters for level 53. To understand why, we need to get technical. You press up whenever you want to throw or catch something, and you press Z whenever you want to rotate through your characters. Between level 19 and 42, you only have access to book and match, you just swap between them. And this is the key that makes grab boosting possible in all of those levels. In level 42, however, you meet Ice Cube, and suddenly things get a lot more difficult. In fact, a little too difficult. You can't grab boost with Ice Cube because she has no arms, but even just grab boosting with the other two is basically impossible now. Recall that to grab boost, this is the input sequence required. Keep in mind that the speed to grab boost is literally 5 of these per second, and the grab boost sequence with Ice Cube in the level looks like this. The difference is just one extra Z press, but that one Z press takes grab boosting from being extremely difficult to basically impossible. The finger control needed at the necessary speeds is completely unthinkable, and keep in mind that even if you do get both match and book over the wall, how is Ice Cube getting up? That still remains to be solved. Clearly, a normal grab boost isn't going to be enough here. It is worth noting briefly that in early 2022, legendary tasker Copper Salts actually discovered that it is in fact possible to grab boost using all 3 characters at once. However, it's silly to assume that this will ever be done by a human. Come on, just look at this. So, progress would yet again slow down. Despite so many new ideas and so many new strategies being discovered and thrown around, ideas are running low, and it seemed like 53 might forever be unbeatable. And then, out of literally nowhere, on Pi Day of 2023, Copper Salts uploaded this. So, this is a TAS, but basically, walls just don't exist anymore. As it turns out, you can clip through pretty much any wall in the game that you want. Okay, now obviously there's a catch, and in this case the catch is that the window for this trick is literally 1/100th the size of a pixel. But that doesn't matter, you can go through walls, and this isn't going 500! And you wanna know what's even better? It's humanly possible! Right after discovering it, Copper Salts literally just started setting unbelievable scores with it! Basically, ever since Pi Day, this game has never been looked at the same. So let's go back to level 53. It hasn't been looked at in a while, but then in May, this dude named Korzan began looking at it again. After some research, he found something that could work, but it was really complicated. It was a 5-step process. Let's take a look at the 5 steps he came up with. Dude, I'm already so sick of talking about myself in third person. I came up with these 5 steps. The first one is get match over the wall. Okay, but how do we do that? It's done using this series of inputs. I know this looks complicated, so let's break it down into a few sections. This first series of inputs allows Match to get a full-size jump while still maintaining control of Book. If we just jumped while holding Book, then our jump would be significantly smaller. This set of inputs should look familiar to you. It's a grab boost. Only doing a single one of these is significantly easier than chaining them together, yet it still yields plenty of height. And by the way, from now on, I'm going to be referring to this as a mini grab boost. And lastly, we're just going to throw Match up and switch to her so she can land on the wall. The 2 Z presses in a row look kinda scary, but they're really not that bad. So to recap, step 1 looks like this. Compared to step 1, step 2 is pretty simple. Clip Match into the wall. Easier said than done, but it's possible, right? The third step is to throw Ice Cube over the wall. This step is tricky because Match being inside the wall is very fragile, because Match grabbing anything from outside the wall and vice versa causes her to immediately warp out. So to do this, Book throws Ice Cube up to Match, and then Match has to jump before grabbing Ice Cube, and then from there, throw Ice Cube over. Keep in mind that throughout this entire sequence, there's no time for rest. All of these inputs must be performed in a row because if Match pops out, you gotta restart. But anyway, Ice Cube has made it! What about the other 2? Step 4? Repeat steps 1 and 2. And yes, this does mean 2 wall clips. And finally, step 5, which starts out by making Book jump, then switching to Match, which by the way requires 2 Z presses because of Ice Cube, and then making Match jump before she grabs Book, and last but not least, on top of all of that, doing a mini grab boost. But then after all of that, Book, Match, and Ice Cube should all be thrown over the wall and you can celebrate! Woo! Oh yeah, and then run to the end and beat the level. Just 5 simple steps. Pretty much immediately after finding the route, I started doing some attempts. And it became pretty clear what the biggest issue was. I was getting Match over the wall pretty consistently, but after an hour of attempts, I got 1 wall clip. 1. That's not even enough to beat the level using my strategy. As it turns out, there wasn't, and still isn't really, a consistent setup to get these wall clips for a human. So I went back to the drawing board and started analyzing all of the limited footage there was of people doing wall clips in real time, just scrounging for any kind of setup. I came across something Copper Salts did in one of her former level 31 records, where she kinda moved away from the wall, came back in, walked off the ledge, and was able to clip. So I decided to try something similar where I jumped off the ledge and came back. I immediately put it into some full level runs, and well, the results speak for themselves. Got it. Level 53 has been beaten. And just like that, it had been done. 10 years in the making, for the first time ever, the impossible level has finally been conquered. Except, this is actually the second time it was beaten. I beat the level for the first time a few hours prior, except the recording looks like this. Despite that though, I was still able to record my reaction to beating it for the first time. But yeah, sadly, there just isn't any footage of this run. After getting the first run with legitimate video proof, I decided to do some more runs to try and bring the time down a little bit. And in doing so, something unexpected happened. 36 seconds. I attempted 4 wall clips and got 2 of them. This kind of luck was not supposed to happen this early on. But anyway, with all of that said, this is the current state of level 53. After 10 years, the biggest mystery in the game has been solved. And despite the level being so simple, the solution for it was actually a very complicated puzzle. I'm very grateful to have contributed to such a historical moment in the game's history, but still, the majority of the work was done by other people, and I think it's important that that gets acknowledged. All of the people I've mentioned up to this point have been linked in the description, please check them out. But with all of that said, this concludes the story of BFDIA 5b's impossible level, level 53. I hope you enjoyed, and as promised, here's my reaction to beating the level for the very first time. I got that so fast! It's over. The game has been beaten. I can't believe how fast I got that. I just discovered a cool setup to get the clip. And then I got it right away. Let's see what level 54 is. Oh, fuck off. Okay, no, none of that. Alright, well, I don't know what else to say. That was insane. I can't believe that happened. That was insane. Okay, this recording is too long. I'm gonna stop it. It's over.